Module 5. Resourcing Projects. Creating an effective project schedule is a cornerstone of project management, especially when resources are limited and demand careful planning. At the heart of this process is the understanding that resources, whether they be personnel, equipment, or capital, are often the limiting factor in how quickly and efficiently a project progresses. When planning a project schedule considering resource constraints, it's essential to adopt a realistic approach. This starts with identifying all the project tasks and breaking them down into work packages. From there, we can consider which resources are needed for each task, how much of each resource will be required, and when. This is where the beauty of a responsibility assignment matrix, RAM, comes into play. A RAM is a visual tool that helps project teams to see the entire landscape of the project at a glance. It doesn't show the early start or finish, nor the late start or finish of activities, nor does it list the duration of each activity or a reporting hierarchy. Instead, it depicts all the work packages and delineates which resources are assigned to the various responsibilities associated with each work package. The RAM ensures that every piece of the project puzzle is accounted for and has someone responsible for its completion. Let's turn to a hypothetical example to bring this to life. Imagine we're constructing a small community center. Our RAM would list all the work packages like laying foundations, erecting walls, installing electrical systems, and so forth. Adjacent to these, we would have columns for different resources such as contractors, electricians, and plumbers, and we'd mark who is responsible for what. This tool is invaluable as it allows us to see where we might have resource overloads, too many tasks assigned to a particular resource in the same time frame. Resource overloads can bring a project to its knees if not resolved. Fortunately, there are several strategies to address this. The first approach is resource leveling, which involves adjusting the project schedule to smooth out the demands for resources. This may mean delaying certain tasks to ensure that the available resources can handle the workload without being stretched too thin. It's like a balancing act, where tasks are shuffled around, ensuring that everyone has enough on their plate, but not too much that it spills over. Another strategy is resource reallocation. This could involve bringing in additional resources or shifting resources from less critical tasks to more critical ones. Think of it as a triage system where resources are directed to where they are needed most, ensuring the project's vital signs remain stable. It's also crucial to monitor the availability of resources throughout the project. This is where continuous communication with the team and resource managers comes in, ensuring everyone is on the same page and aware of any shifts in resource allocation. Now, when we talk about the costs of a project, it's important to distinguish between direct and indirect costs. Direct costs are easy to identify. They're the costs that are specifically attributed to a project, like the wages of the workers physically building our community center, the materials used, and any specialized machinery. However, not all costs are tied directly to project activities. Indirect costs are those that are necessary to keep the organization running but are not directly chargeable to a specific project. They're like the background music in a movie. You don't always notice it, but it's always there, influencing the overall environment. In our community center example, indirect costs include executive salaries, the electricity to light up the main office, and the insurance that protects the company, not to mention the costs of keeping the lights on in the administrative offices. These costs are spread across all projects the organization undertakes, not just our community center, because they are essential to the business's overall operation but not directly attributable to any single project's output. Understanding these indirect costs is crucial for a project manager when it comes to budgeting and cost management. It is the backbone of ensuring that the project's financial health is maintained while recognizing that these costs, although not tied to a specific project, are still necessary for the seamless execution of all organizational projects. In practice, a project manager must account for indirect costs in their budget, even though they do not vary with the particular project's life cycle. They are part of the fixed costs of operating a business and thus should be allocated across all projects. To return to our community center scenario, while the cost of the bricks and labor for laying them is a direct cost, the cost of the insurance that covers the company's employees is an indirect cost. It's not about the bricks or the workers, it's about the business environment that allows those workers to be employed and those bricks to be laid safely and legally. In summary, a project schedule that doesn't account for resource constraints is like a ship without a rudder. It may move, but it won't be headed in the right direction. A RAM is a compass that guides this ship, ensuring that every resource is optimally utilized. And when it comes to the costs of running the show, remember that not all are in the spotlight. Some, like executive salaries, utilities, and insurance, play their part behind the scenes. They might not be the stars of our project story, but without them, there would be no show at all. Through careful planning, monitoring, and the strategic deployment of tools like the RAM, and a nuanced understanding of direct and indirect costs, we set the stage for a successful project that makes the most of the resources at hand and sails smoothly to its destination, despite the ever-present undercurrents of constraints and financial necessities. Budgeting projects. When embarking on the journey of budgeting for a project, we're not just crunching numbers, we are painting a financial landscape that will guide our project from conception to completion. It's a nuanced art that melds precision with forecasting, requiring a deep understanding of cost-related terms and the deft application of various estimating methodologies. In the realm of project cost estimation, we navigate through an array of terms. Direct costs, such as the wages of our team members or the price of hardware, stand out as clearly attributable to the project. Indirect costs, like the rent for office space or utilities, may not tie directly to a project task, but they support the project environment. Each of these costs plays its own role in the tapestry of our budget, and a savvy project manager must understand how to weave them together to estimate the full project cost accurately. Let's consider the methods at our disposal for estimating these costs. Analogous estimating, often seen as an art form as much as a science, draws from the historical data of previous projects. It's a method that shines when time or data is scarce, allowing us to make broad brush strokes that outline our cost landscape based on past project costs. However, this method is like using a wide-angle lens. It captures the big picture but can miss the minute details. Contrast this with parametric estimating, which uses a statistical relationship between historical data and other variables, like square footage in construction or lines of code in software development, to calculate an estimate for scope, cost, and duration. It's the methodical aspect of budgeting, where each parameter is measured and applied, yielding a more focused and often more accurate estimate. It's akin to a zoom lens that brings clarity to specific aspects of our financial picture. Then there's the meticulous bottom-up approach, where we dissect the project into its smallest components and estimate each one individually. This method is the equivalent of a high-definition macro lens, capturing every fine detail. Although time-consuming, it gives us a granular view of the project's financial needs. Now, imagine you're at the starting line of a project. During initiation, your vision of the project is akin to an impressionist painting, broad strokes and wide margins. Estimates are rough, possibly off by as much as 100%, simply because the details are not yet in focus. These are the rough order of magnitude estimates, our initial sketches of what the financial landscape could look like. As we delve into the project planning stage, our estimates start to take on more depth and detail. It's during this stage that our cost estimates begin to evolve from broad concepts to precise figures. With the project plan becoming more detailed and the inclusion of risk and quality plans, our cost estimates sharpen to a point where the margin of error narrows. They transform into a reliable foundation upon which we can build our project budget, forecast cash flow needs, and establish baselines for project control. Most project organizations aim for an accuracy level within a margin of plus or minus 10 to 15%. Achieving this level of precision requires not just the right tools but also the insight to apply them judiciously. As a project progresses and more information becomes available, the financial contours of a project become clearer. The initial rough estimates are refined through continuous re-estimation and validation against emerging project realities. It's a dynamic process, much like sculpting, where each iteration removes a layer of uncertainty, revealing the more accurate form beneath. This evolution of cost accuracy is essential because it affects not only how we budget but also how we manage and control our expenditures throughout the life cycle of the project. A budget that's set on shaky estimates is like a house built on sand, prone to shifting and collapse under the weight of reality. So, how does this apply in the real world? Consider a project manager working on a new software development project. Initially, they have only the project charter and a high-level description of the application to go by. Their cost estimates at this point are broad, providing a wide range of potential costs. As the project moves forward and the team defines the requirements in greater detail, these estimates are refined. The project manager might transition from using analogous to parametric estimating, applying specific metrics such as cost per line of code, which is adjusted for complexity, experience, and other project-specific factors. By the time detailed planning is complete, the project manager should have a robust budget, one that accounts for known risks and includes a contingency reserve to manage those risks. It's a budget that can serve as a reliable baseline for tracking project performance and making informed decisions. In this journey of budgeting, we must be vigilant. The accuracy of cost estimates doesn't magically improve on its own. It requires active management, reevaluation, and adjustment. It involves understanding the nuances of cost terms, the strengths and weaknesses of different estimating methods, and the common issues that arise in cost estimating. And, crucially, it involves knowing how to adapt and respond to those issues. It's about painting that financial landscape with increasing detail and precision as the project progresses from an abstract idea to a concrete reality. In essence, budgeting is not just about prediction, it's about precision. It's a continual refinement process that parallels the project's evolution from concept to completion. And just like any other aspect of project management, it benefits from experience, attention to detail, and an unwavering focus on the ultimate goal, delivering a successful project within its financial boundaries. As such, the art of budgeting is a dance with numbers, where the music's tempo changes from the broad, sweeping motions of early estimates to the delicate, precise steps of detailed budgeting. It's a progression that reflects our growing understanding of the project and our commitment to steering it towards successful completion within its financial means. The student embarking on this chapter should now appreciate the landscape of project budgeting. From the broad, impressionistic strokes of analogous estimating to the fine, detailed work of bottom-up estimating, and the mathematical precision of parametric estimating, each technique plays a vital role in the overall financial planning of a project. Understanding these techniques and their application across the project lifecycle ensures that as the project's picture comes into sharper focus, the cost estimates do too, leading to a robust and reliable budget that aligns with the project's goals and constraints.